All right. Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Otaku Lounge.
Konnichiwa.
Sayonara.
Oh.
Oh, for one. No, but anyway, my name is Snapple Grapple, and to the right of me is
The Banzai Wolfburger!
You already knew that. But welcome to our second installment of this amazing series that I am super excited to get kicked off. For those of you who remember, our last episode was covering pretty much all of season 1 and 2. Well, I guess the main points of season 1 and 2, as well as...
Just to explain what was going on.
Yeah, true. Pretty much, not even season 1 and 2, because we didn't talk about Stain or the no moves or really anything much except for... I mean, we did talk about the no moves. Anyway, we had a discussion on episodes 47 through 51 of My Hero Academia, and we gave you guys disclosure on certain points that had to do with those episodes. So, if you guys enjoyed that, welcome to episode 2.
Yeah, well, what anime are we doing this time?
We're doing One Piece.
Hey, gotta go.
Gum gum. Fat man with small legs. Anyway.
Now, let's do My Hero instead.
But I like One Piece. Fuck it, we gonna do My Hero instead. What episode we doing today, Banzai?
We're doing the newest episode on air of this, episode 52.
Episode 52. So, if I'm not mistaken, the episode is called, like, come up with those cool moves or something like that, or name that ultimate move, something.
Yeah.
But the purpose of episode 52 is to pull the kids together and work on creating their signature moves. And, you know, you can pretty much, expect what a signature move is, some crazy twist or spin on whatever their quirk is that would catch people off guard, and they'd probably put everything they had into it because it's a signature move. It's like a finisher. You know what I'm saying? So, without further ado, let's begin. Episode 51.
52.
Oh yeah, episode 52.
So 52, let's start off with, there's a new arc. So of course they gave us a new opening. And I don't like it as much as I liked the last one because that thing just hyped you up. But this one did get you hyped up because now we know, based on this episode, the kids are finally going for the provisional licenses.
Oh right. The license so that they can actually go out and be the heroes that they're training for. Wouldn't it suck if they all failed? That'd be terrible. It's like everybody fails except like Bakugo, and he's the angriest one. He's like, I can't be a hero, but none of my other hero friends are heroes because there's no competition of being a hero anymore. I don't know. I feel like he'd probably say some dumb shit like that. Either that or he'd laugh at Deku for not making it. I'm better than all you. Murder! Murder! I'm gonna murder everyone now. But no. So.
And that's what the ultimate moves are designed for. They're designed to give them the edge on trying to get their provisional licenses.
So we open up, and the episode opens up with a flashback, actually, of, if I'm not mistaken, episode 59? No,
Is the Deku...
not 59. I was going to say 49, but episode 50, which is where, we have, the whole Deku's mom episode and stuff. So if you guys remember pieces of that, there's a scene where All Might's talking to Deku on the beach on how he's irritated that he doesn't really listen to him, but he's super happy that he came out, alive essentially, and he's going to dedicate himself to raising Deku and training Deku
To be the
and
next All Might.
probably not the next All Might, because
next...
episode 52 is pretty much all about not mimicking All Might. So like that's kind of out of the window.
He has a little bothersome about it. We have our different views on it, but we'll get into that a little bit.
So before we get into anything further in the episode, the big kicker of this episode for Midoriya specifically is figuring out how to not be All Might. That's funny, I didn't even get that. That was an intentional pun, and you'll figure out why soon. But so the whole episode is about Midoriya not trying to be another All Might. All Might wants him to be his own hero. Yes, he has the One for All, but no, he does not have to be another All Might. Now, me personally, I don't mind if he were to be like, another All Might, because that's what happens all the time. I mean, if you guys are involved in comics at all and know history about comics, there have been like 4 to 5 different Batmen, whether it's a future storyline, alternate universe. There's multiple people who take up that mantle. In the Forever Evil thing, Bane took up the mantle of Batman because he understood the symbol needs to be there. Like, Batman needs to exist.
The symbol of peace.
Yeah, he's a symbol of peace for Gotham, and I believe that All Might is a symbol of peace for not just, Tokyo, or are they in Tokyo? Or is it just Japan?
They're in Japan. I'm not sure which.
Well, there's somewhere.
No, they're not in
Japan.
Tokyo because I remember Deku when he was taking the train with Gran Torino. Was like, "Are we going to Tokyo?
Oh,
That'd
okay.
be lit."
Gotcha. Well, they're not in Tokyo, but we do know that they're in Japan. And All Might isn't just a symbol of peace in Japan. He is the symbol of peace around the world.
Yeah.
He is the world's #1 hero, not the Japanese #1 hero. The dude's American, for Pete's sake. Like, that's crazy. But like I said, I personally don't mind if Deku takes up the mantle. He already has a different costume. He already has different, I guess you could say, ramifications to his quirk, because he doesn't buff up like All Might does. You know, All Might has the whole buff up, buff down. Deku has the electricity flowing through him, the little like curse mark, so to speak, insignia when he's getting ready to do his All for One full cowling. So he already has different ways he utilizes. I said All for One. I'm sorry. He has different ways he utilizes his One for All power. That's already completely different from the way All Might uses it. Honestly, I don't remember seeing electricity coming off All Might until the fight with All for One. And it came off his legs a little bit, and that was like, I was like, oh, okay, well, there's that.
Even in some ways, his costume reflects All Might too. If you
No,
remember.
absolutely, and that's cool to reflect it. I'm not knocking that. If anything, I accept that even more. My thing is, don't be completely opposed to him taking the All Might mantle. You know what I'm saying? If he goes by the symbol of peace in the future, I'll even accept that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point, he wants to be All Might. So why not allow him to be All Might? That's like my beef with that whole thing. But
And then my view on it is, it's not necessarily like taking away like don't be like All Might, but it's more like find your bearings into this. Don't be an exact copy and paste, but find your way into how you want to master this.
right,
And both of us had two pretty good like
arguments.
and not like one of us was like, no, you're stupid. That's not like the show.
He did the mouth thing towards me, so like, you know what I'm saying? I heard everything. I'm hearing everything you're saying. But so
So the way this, yeah.
So we open up and they're at the beach again. And my first thought, as soon as I watched it, I looked at Banzai and I said, "Is this a rerun? Are you sure this is episode 52?" And he like kind of ignored me. He's like, "Shut up, Lou, watch it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I do that with everybody.
So I was like, all right, you know, whatever. I keep watching, and when it gets to the part where he holds him and he's letting him know, like, I'm always gonna be there for you. From here on out, like, I will devote my life to protecting you. Like, I will raise you to be the best possible person I can help you to be. And Deku gets all teary-eyed and he's about to start crying because, like I profusely expressed in our last video, this is his idol. Like, you have to look at All Might and Deku's relationship as you and your idol to truly understand the feeling that Deku feels. Mm-hmm. So he's about to start crying and he says, All Might, and then he wakes up. And that's when you realize this was just a dream. He wakes up in his new dorm room because at the end of the last episode we discussed, they all got moved into dorm rooms. So he wakes up in his bed and he screams All Might because the dream is so real. One, it actually happened. Two, it's technically not even really a dream. It's just him reliving something that already happened. So that feeling all came back. He jumps up, he's like, All Might. A couple deep breaths because he realizes, he's in his room. That was the past. We're all good now. Mm-hmm. And we shoot over to them going to brush their teeth. And you peep that he's in the same dorm level because it's like 5 levels and there's 4 boys and 4 girls to each level. And he's in a level with Ida, Todoroki, and the kid with the foxtail, and I don't know his name. Drat.
I'm forgetting.
It's okay.
Aoyama.
Aoyama? Okay, Aoyama.
But I like that. I like how they do that because right briefly before they get into that, they're showing you how they're adapting to dorm life and everything.
True.
You see, they're still living their lives. Freaking, they're brushing their teeth. Ida's still doing the hand gesture thing that we loved before.
For those of you who don't know or never paid attention, go back and look at Ida's moments where he's not so much fighting, but he's being a student, like a role student model or like a role model student. He's always doing this and he's always doing this. And there's a scene when they get the dorm rooms. Uraraka is so starstruck by these big rooms because she's 4. She comes from the slums, if I'm not mistaken.
It's literally why Jam Shake likes her.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like her too. She understands our pain. We're not rich by any means. This back here is this guy. Anyway, but I'm playing. But she's getting starstruck by these rooms because she comes from a poor lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And she's passing out every time. She's like, oh my god, this room is bigger than my house. And then she drops back and then Ida's like, Uraraka! And he's his arms do this real stiff movement thing. And we always notice it as his little signature thing that like we can pick out him for being funny, and he's doing it while he brushes his teeth. So he's sitting there like this, brushing his teeth, and he's just like, he's just doing this the whole time for no reason. He's not talking or anything. He's just brushing his teeth, going like this.
Anytime he's casual eater, you'll notice him. He's doing that thing.
And then, you know, like
even
I said,
his brother, like when they show his flash between him and his brother when they was younger, he's just talking to his brother like this, and Ingenium's like, why do you keep doing that?
I'm mad you say Ingenium. I call him Ingenium, but you know, you can pronounce it either way. Like, I know someone who calls him Biku, and I was like, that's very odd, but you know, do you? It was on Facebook. A lot of this crazy stuff I see is on Facebook.
Guess what's going on Facebook after this?
Chicken. But yeah, so they're brushing their teeth, and like Banzai said, they're getting to, you know, become adapted to, you know, how it's like to be in dorms together and stuff like that. And they get called down, you know, they're eating breakfast and stuff, and then Mr. Aizawa comes in, Eraserhead, and he lets them know, like, all right, guys, look, we're going to start with your signature move training. And he explains to them that to get their, what is it called?
Their provisional license.
Okay.
They need the edge. And he's like, in order to do that, we need your ultimate moves. It's like he says that door opens up, freaking Ectoplasm, freaking Cementos, fucking Midnight, they all are right there at the door. And they're like, we're going to help you develop your ultimate moves. And everybody's hyped. They're like, this is cool, normal hero stuff, but also school activity. So now everybody's gearing up and they head to this new facility on this on the school. It's called TDL, I think. I think it was like training dining.
TDL, yeah.
It's like training dining something. Training dining lounge?
It might have been lounge.
Otaku Lounge, training dining lounge?
Aha!
And
we actually didn't rip that nowhere.
And the reason why it's called that because through Cementos' power, he can create everything.
Yeah, that's my baby.
He's an earthbender.
Cementos is basically like an earthbender, but like he looks like if SpongeBob was gray and didn't have any holes. Like he's just like a big block person with like little arms, and he touches the ground and he can like earthbend from there. Like he actually, it's revealed in this that like he does, like he's the architect for the buildings. Like
he makes everything.
He like when they all get in there. First of all, Cementos and Ectoplasm are like some of my favorite pro heroes. If I had to choose, it'd probably be Cementos because I love earthbenders. I love any character that has to do with like the manipulation of earth and rock. I don't know why, it's just me. Anyway, but Ectoplasm is one of like my very close seconds. Like he's cool as hell, and all he can really do is clone himself, and he's just a really good fighter. But it's really cool because like his voice is like mechanized, and he talks like this through like a respirator type thing. He's like the Darth Vader of My Hero. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so Cementos is in there and he like presses the ground and he shows them how he's, you know, the structure of the place and how he's the architect. And he's like, I put a lot of like heart into making these buildings and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Because the whole point of the training field, the reason why it has the word dining in it, because he's literally making a training ground specifically for each student. That way they customize to each student. Well, that's like, that's tough. Like, he's like they're literally making something for each student to be able to develop in their own type of way.
And it's cool because right after that we see all the students like put their like mean faces on, like the hero faces. They're like, you know, we're gonna get this, and then it's like let's start. So they start up, and you see this big spread of like all the students, you know, doing what they do, and their practice opponent is Ectoplasm because he can make a bunch of different clones. So he has a clone for each student, and each clone is conscious. His mind is shared through each clone. So they're getting each of them are getting the same amount of pro hero help, which is really cool.
Yeah, they gathered pro heroes specifically who could be best at training everybody at the same time. And another key point of this episode that they brought up before training them is while you're training, think about ways you can develop your costumes to help you use your quirks better or develop your ultimate moves.
Right.
Now, off the gate is another reason why I call Bakugo main character priority. He did it perfectly with his first shot. Like he was like the only student out of everybody.
He was the only one at all who was able to destroy an Ectoplasm clone.
Yeah, he was the only person who developed his costume based off his quirk before this was even a thing.
Right.
The only person other than that who does that is, I believe, Yazurozu.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh man, she's so open and stuff. But the reason she does that is because she needs her skin for her quirk. So that's the main reason why she has the openness like that.
Right.
So we're going through everything now. Everybody's training. Bakugo's like, I can finally go all out. He's destroying ectoplasms left and right, trying to develop like multiple ultimate moves already.
Right.
And then All Might finally walks into the picture. He's seen everybody.
Now, real quick, right before we get to that part, the reason that's important is because as we're watching everybody go through their training, we watch Bakugo just blow through everything. Like, he's just doing his shit. He's Bakugo, you know, he's like the prodigy of the show, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And then, you go to Todoroki, who's trying to figure out how to properly balance his ice and fire. You go over to Uraraka, who's working on, like, controlling the way she floats better. Probably gonna, tap into the level of flying at one point. Who knows? And then you go to, I can't remember her name. Who's Acid Girl's name?
That's, why am I forgetting? She's my favorite character. No, this is really gonna kill me.
It's okay. It's your guys' fault. You put us on the spot.
Mina.
So now we can,
Mina.
There we go. Mina. So Mina does this
Mina
funny
is
thing.
bae.
Okay, Mina's bae. So Mina does this cute little thing where I kind of think it's a homage towards Dragon Ball Z, because she can, like, spit acid out of her hands. Mm-hmm. So she's talking to Ectoplasm. He's like, he's like, show me what you got. So she's like, okay, I call this, whatever the case may be. And she's like, ah, and then like this little
acid ha.
Yeah, this little squirt thing like droops down. And then she's like, ugh. And then he's like, well, why don't you try putting your hands together to make it like a nozzle? Critiques. Yeah, mind you, Ectoplasm is brilliant, honestly. I can't remember everything he's saying to everyone, but he's literally, as it's going through, he's giving suggestions like, well, why don't you do this? Or maybe if you did this, you might alter this. Or this might be stronger if you do this. Like, he's just really an amazing teacher, like, if you really think about it. I put him on the level of, like, if you ever saw Assassination Classroom, Kuro Sensei can move at Mach 20. So he's literally moving so fast that he's able to help every one of his students at the same exact time. Ectoplasm can clone himself and do the same exact thing. Now, he is adapting to each student's quirk, which is the same thing Kuro Sensei would do. One, not so much quirks, but how they can learn, because everyone learns different. Some people are physical learners, some people are paper learners. Some people learn faster, some people learn slower, some people need extra help, some people don't. And he's just perfectly adapted to each one of his students. Well, not his students, but each one of Aizawa's students. And it's really cool to see that these aren't just heroes. They're kind of like school heroes too. Like, they are really capable at helping and assisting everyone for what they need. And then he comes down to Deku. And Deku's like...
He's staring off at everybody just like...
Yeah, Deku's just in awe watching everyone progress.
And then,
it's really cool to see.
I think this was a little savage. He didn't need to, but he just kicks him in the back of the head. He's like, why are you staring off? And the thing about Ectoplasm's, he has to steal, like, peg leg. I was like, that was a little excessive, maybe. Yeah. Deku's like, ah! And
he was like a little love tap. It wasn't like no crazy hard hit. He, like, popped him, and he's like, why aren't you working? Everyone else is, like, over here. I need you to focus. And then, Deku's like, oh, well, I want to. I really do want to, like, work on more stuff, but I have to be careful because of my arms.
Yeah, at this moment, he can't see how he can develop ultimate moves.
Right.
If he overpowers his arms, his arms, he literally says, my arms are ticking time bomb.
Absolutely. And a couple of the previous episodes, we actually get word that if, and we mentioned this in our last video, if he uses them just, like, if he goes overboard with his arms a couple more times, he could be paralyzed, both of his arms could be paralyzed forever, for good. Now, that's not saying we won't see him use his arms again. I'm sure we will, because it's Deku.
Well, I mean, once we go into what his armor, what his costume upgrade is,
True.
It's already a hint.
But because of his caution and his, I guess you could say, fear of losing his arms, Ectoplasm comes up with the perfect idea for him too, and he's like, well, why don't you work on your costume and maybe find something that can help you better, use your arms safely, be able to use a little bit more power in your arms without so much of the drawback. And Deku's like, oh snap, that's a great idea. Let's go and move on to...
Well, this is the part where All Might comes in.
Right, let's go move on to All Might. So now All Might comes in, and I kind of like the whole All Might coming in, because he walks in, and first of all, Aizawa's like, what are you doing here? You should be recovering. You just almost died.
And he's like, I'm here even though I don't need to be.
Yeah, and it's really cool, because he buffs up. For like a split second, he buffs up. He's like, I'm here, and I'm gonna come help. And then he like buffs back down, and but he's not sad or anything. He's smiling the whole time, being All Might.
Eraserhead and Midnight just staring at him. He's like, I'm a teacher too, so let me critique.
Yeah, that was the cool thing. He was like, I'm still a teacher at UA. Just because I'm not the symbol of peace anymore doesn't mean I can't help these kids progress. So he's going over, and he's over here talking to all the kids, and he's helping them, just like Ectoplasm is. He's one by one walking to each kid, and
first thing he notices is Deku. As much as Ectoplasm is trying his best, he just doesn't understand his quirk the way well, no one's going to understand Deku's quirk as much as All Might would do. So there's a suggestion for the costume. All Might walks over it. Instantly, he's like, your main problem right now is you're still trying to imitate me, which is stuff we've heard since Season 2. Gran Torino's like, you idolize All Might too much, which is your biggest downfall right now. So now the episode shifts into Deku trying to understand what All Might meant by that.
Right. Now, on the surface, it could mean a multitude of things. Mm-hmm. It could mean he modeled his costume after All Might's costume. He has the one for all. He constantly thinks every scenario he's in, his first thought is, what would All Might do? So, if his whole mentality and mindset is based on what would All Might do, he can never truly be his own hero. Now, we channel over to the, what are they called? The support unit?
The support class.
The support class. There's a whole class. Just like there's a class of heroes, there's a class of medics, and there's a class of support people who try, to do whatever they can to make the perfect creation, so to speak,
yes.
to properly help heroes and just random, civilians alike.
So the support class is, in this case, they're in charge of doing the hero costumes, which is for the minor changes, which is another thing about My Hero. The provisional licensing was a smart idea. Boom, you can't just be heroes like in DC and Marvel and stuff like that. Like there's consequences, there's steps you need to take. Now they go into the importance of the costumes, where there's like simple upgrades they can do. You guys put in like paperwork and stuff like that. Like it's like a whole process. So Deku's going there. He's like, what can I do to lessen the strain in my arms? Because that's what his biggest focus is right now.
Right.
And on his way there, Uraraka and Ida meet up with him. And as they all meet up with him, Deku goes to open the door to support class. Boom! Explosion happens. Blows up the door, and Uraraka's just staring like, what the heck?
She's in shock because like right before that, she's like running, hey Deku, what's up Deku? And he's just like, hey Uraraka. Boosh! And like the door smacks him. There's a huge explosion.
Smoke is all over the place.
And
you just hear a voice talking the whole time like, oh man, another failure, blah 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 blah. The smoke's clearing up, and you just see Mei Hatsume, who we haven't seen since Season 2, the sports festival, is on top of Deku. And she stole the show this episode.
Yeah, there's like a whole like little funny scene where like she's on top of him because she fell on top of him, so she's like mounted on him, and Deku like looks up, and it's like the first thing he sees is like her chest.
She's a little well endowed.
He's like,
he's like, and Ochako's just staring like, kind of jealous in the background.
Yeah.
So Deku's like, and she's like, boobs.
Yeah. So mind you, Hatsume's not worried about any of that. She's just trying to get like her support system stuff going. She's creating all these new, outfits and uniforms and different things that can do whatever the case may be. And she's been working hard. So that's where her mindset is. Now, she's on top of them, but she's not even worried about that. She gets up and she's like, hey everybody, and they all say what's up to each other. They pretty much, explain that they're trying to work and tinker on their outfits just a wee bit. Not any full, throw out this outfit, make me a new one, but they're trying to express to them what little things they think would be helpful to help out their quirks.
And every time they mention something, she's very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just runs, like, just goes with the first thing that comes to her mind.
She's very, like, overzealous when it comes to, like, creating. So as soon as they have a piece of caution, like, what was Uraraka's?
I'll go in order real quick.
Okay.
So the pro hero who's running the tech support class, who we didn't know about this because the first time we saw him was against Ida and Tailman. He's not Aoyama, by the way. I just thought about that. Aoyama's the later guy.
Okay.
This sucks because his trope is he's so normal that he doesn't get recognized, and now I'm giving into that trope and I feel bad. But so we'll go with Tailman. You see him go against them. So you don't think he's like a smart guy, but he's actually the lead of the tech support class. He runs everything. Pro hero Power Dozer. Small guy, has like construction armor on him. So the first thing is Deku comes up to him. He's like, I want to find a way to reduce the stress in my arms. Is there a way to do that? And Power Dozer's like, yeah, of course. That's so simple that you don't even need to send it. You don't even need to fill out paperwork. It'll probably take 3 days to get back to you. And the second Mei hears that, she walks up to Deku and then just